Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome back to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books. And as usual lately, the live studios are here at 3402 Radha Lane, the Sannyas Library, the library of the Sannyas Quarters. And we have, again, the loyal hearers of the Bhagavatam, most loyal hearers, and our family, the core is here, and there's a bigger family developing, and more persons that I talk to and hear from are also feeling that same family spirit. And I heard something wonderful from Gopi Puranjana Prabhu today, who was talking about the Bhagavatam. Because Gopi Puranjana Prabhu, his life was the Bhagavatam. He studied it, he knew it, as well as any devotee knew it on the planet. He left, unfortunately. Anyway, he was the senior Sanskritist, and he was responsible, along with Hridayananda Maharaj and Dravida, for finishing the Bhagavatam after Prabhupada left. So he was very deep into the Bhagavatam, and he was glorifying the Bhagavatam in a very sweet way. He was saying, the Bhagavatam has got something for everyone, brand new devotees, most elevated devotees, and it's not about the information content. It's about a taste that it gives us, and for the goal of life, which is to become attached to Krishna. That's the goal of hearing the Bhagavatam, is to become attached to Krishna. It doesn't make a difference who you are, what your qualifications are or not. If you can read the Bhagavatam honestly, then you will become attached to Krishna, because it's the goal. And it's empowered to do that. It was brought into the world by Vyasadeva to do just that. And Prabhupada, when he started translating these books and publishing them one volume after another, every month we'd get a new volume that nobody had ever seen before. And we run out on the streets and pass them out. Hare Krishna, Haribo. And pass them out on the streets, Srimad-Bhagavatam, to just the people on the streets. And many of them became devotees. It's inconceivable. So how fortunate we are to be here together, hearing Srimad-Bhagavatam. So let's hear what Srila Sanatana Goswami says about that, the Srimad-Bhagavatam, what it is. It goes like this. Sarva Shastrabdi Piyusha Sarva Vekaika Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadya Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabho Kalidwan Doditaditya Shri Krishna Parivartita. O life air of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master Srimad Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Shri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshakshadayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Shri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you who were supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Shri Krishna himself. Marika Bando Matsangin Madguro Man Mahadana Man Nistadaka Madbhagya Madananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu sadhu tadayin Ati nicho chatakara Hanamuncha gadachin mam premna rit kantayospuda. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So we're continuing the ongoing allegorical story that is being described by Narada Muni himself to King Prachinabarishat, the grandson of Prithu Maharaj. And the details of this Puranjana's life is it's continuing. We're starting with text 12 of chapter 27 of the fourth canto. Thus King Puranjana, being attached to fruitive activities, karma kandya, as well as kith and kin, and being obsessed with polluted consciousness, eventually arrived at that point not very much liked by those who are overly attached to material things. Purport. In this verse, the words priya yoshinam and apriya are very significant. The word yoshit means woman and priya means dear or pleasing. Death is not very much welcome for those who are too much attached to material enjoyment, which culminates in sex. There is an instructive story in this connection. Once when a saintly person was passing on his way, he met a prince, the son of a king, and he blessed him, saying, "My dear prince, may you live forever." The sage next met a saintly person and said to him, "You may either die or live." Eventually the sage met a brahmachari devotee and he blessed him by saying, "My dear devotee, you may die immediately." Finally the sage met a hunter and he blessed him, saying, "Neither live nor die." The point is that those who are very sensual and are engaged in sense gratification do not wish to die. Generally, a prince has enough money to enjoy his senses. Therefore, the great sage said that he should live forever, for as long as he lived, he could enjoy life, but after his death, he would go to hell. Since the brahmachari devotee was leading a life of severe austerities and penances in order to be promoted back to Godhead, the sage said that he should die immediately so that he need not continue to labor hard and could instead go back home, back to Godhead. A saintly person may live or die, for during his life he is engaged in serving the Lord, and after his death he also serves the Lord. Thus this life and the next are the same for a saintly devotee. For in both he serves the Lord. Since the hunter lives a very ghastly life due to killing animals, and since he will go to hell when he dies, he is advised to neither live nor die. King Puranjana finally arrived at the point of death. In old age, the senses lose their strength. And although an old man desires to enjoy his senses, and especially sex life, he is very miserable because his instruments of enjoyment no longer function. Such sensualists are never prepared for death. They simply want to live on and extend their life by so-called scientific advancement. Some foolish Russian scientists also claim that they are going to make man immortal through scientific advancement. Under the leadership of such crazy fellows, civilization is going on. Cruel death, however, comes and takes all of them away, despite their desire to live forever. This type of mentality was exhibited by Hiranyakashipu. Haribol Sarva. This type of mentality was exhibited by Hiranyakashipu, but when the time was ripe, the Lord personally killed him within a second. Text 13. O king, in Gandharvaloka there is a king named Candavega. Under him there are 360 very powerful Gandharva soldiers. Purport. Time is figuratively described here as Candavega. Since time and tide wait for no man, time is herein called Candavega, which means very swiftly passing away. As time passes, it is calculated in terms of years. 1 year contains 360 days, and the soldiers of Candavega herein mentioned represent these days. Time passes swiftly. Candavega's powerful soldiers of Gandharvaloka very swiftly carry away the days of our life. As the sun rises and sets, it snatches away the balance of our lifespan. Thus, as each day passes, each one of us loses some of life's duration. It is therefore said that the duration of one's life cannot be saved. But if one is engaged in devotional service, his time cannot be taken away by the sun. As stated in Srimad-Bhagavatam 2.3.17, Ayur harati vai pungsang udyan ashtam chayan asao. The conclusion is that if one wants to make himself immortal, he should give up sense gratification. By engaging oneself in devotional service, one can gradually enter into the eternal kingdom of God. Mirages and other illusory things are sometimes called Gandharvas. Our losing our lifespan is taken as advancement of age. This imperceptible passing away of the days of life is figuratively referred to in this verse as Gandharvas. As explained in later verses, such Gandharvas are both male and female. This indicates that both men and women lose their lifespan imperceptibly by the force of time, which is herein described as Candavega. Text 14. Along with Candavega were as many female Gandharvis as there were soldiers, and all of them repetitively plundered all the paraphernalia for sense enjoyment. Purport. The days have been compared to the soldiers of Candavega. Night is generally a time for sex enjoyment. Days are considered to be white and nights are considered to be black, or, from another point of view, there are two kinds of nights, black nights and white nights. All these days and nights combine to pass away our span of life and everything we manufacture for sense gratification. Material activity means manufacturing things for sense gratification. Scientists are conducting research to find out how we can satisfy our senses more and more elaborately. In this Kali Yuga, the demoniac mentality is employed in manufacturing various machines to facilitate the process of sense gratification. There are so many machines for ordinary household activities. There are machines for washing dishes, cleansing the floor, shaving, clipping hair. Today everything is done by machine. All these facilities for sense gratification are described in this verse as sarvakama vinirmitam. The time factor, however, is so strong that not only is our span of life being expended, but all the machines and facilities for sense gratification are deteriorating. Therefore, in this verse, the word vilumpanti, plundering, is used. Everything is being plundered from the very beginning of our lives. This plundering of our possessions and lifespan begins with the day of our birth. One day will come when death will finish everything, and the living entity will have to enter another body to begin another chapter of life, and again begin the cycle of material sense gratification. Prahlad Maharaj describes this process as punat, punash, charvita charvananam, Bhagavatam 7.5.30. materialistic life means chewing the chewed again and again. The central point of material life is sense gratification. In different types of bodies, the living entity enjoys various senses, and through creating various types of facilities, he chews the chewed. Whether we squeeze sugar out of the sugar cane with our teeth or a machine, the result is the same: sugarcane juice. We may discover many ways to squeeze the juice out of the sugar cane, but the result is the same. Text 15. When King Gandharva Raj, Candavega, and his followers began to plunder the city of Puranjana, a snake with 5 hoods began to defend the city. Purport. When one is sleeping, the life air remains active in different dreams. The 5 heads of the snake indicate that the life air is surrounded by 5 kinds of air, known as prana, apana, vyana, udana, and samana. When the body is inactive, the prana, or the life air, is active. Up to the age of 50, one can actively work for sense gratification, but after 50th year, one's energy decreases. Although one can, with great strain, work for 2 or 3 more years, perhaps up to the 55th year. Thus, the 55th year is generally taken by government regulations as the final year for retirement. Well, this was 1970. They made it now, it's like 70 something, right? The energy, which is fatigued after 50 years, is figuratively described herein as a serpent with 5 hoods. Text 16. The 5-hooded serpent, the superintendent and protector of the city of King Puranjana, fought with the Gandharvas for 100 years. He fought alone with all of them, although they numbered 720. Purport. The 360 days and 360 nights combined to become the 720 soldiers of Candavega time. One has to fight these soldiers throughout one's lifespan, beginning with birth and ending with death. This fight is called the struggle for existence. Despite this struggle, however, the living entity does not die. As confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 2.20, the living entity is eternal. Najayate, mriyate, bhakada, chin, nayam bhutva, babita, va nabuyaha, ajo nityak, shastato yam purano, nahanyate, hanyamane, sharire. For the soul there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever-existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain. Actually, the living entity does not take birth, nor does he die, but he has to fight with the stringent laws of material nature throughout the entire span of his lifetime. He must also face different kinds of miserable conditions. Despite all this, the living entity, due to illusion, thinks that he is well situated in sense gratification. 17. Because he had to fight alone with so many soldiers, all of whom were great warriors, the serpent with 5 hoods became weak. Seeing that his most intimate friend was weakening, King Puranjana and his friends and citizens living within the city all became very anxious. Purport. The living entity resides within the body and struggles for existence with the limbs of the body, which are referred to here as citizens and friends. One can struggle alone with many soldiers for some time, but not for all time. A living entity within the body can struggle up to the limit of 100 years with good luck, but after that, it is not possible to prolong the struggle. Thus the living entity submits and falls victim. In this regard, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has sung, Vriddhakala aula sukha bhagala. When one becomes old, it becomes impossible to enjoy material happiness. Generally, people think that religion and piety come at the end of life, and at this time one generally becomes meditative and takes to some called yogic process, or some so-called yogic process, to relax in the name of meditation. Meditation, however, is simply a farce for those who have enjoyed life in sense gratification. As described in the 6th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, meditation, dhyana, dharana, is a difficult subject matter that one has to learn from his very youth. To meditate, one must restrain himself from all kinds of sense gratification. Unfortunately, meditation has now become a fashion for those who are overly addicted to sensual things. Such meditation is defeated by the struggle for existence. Sometimes such meditative processes pass for transcendental meditation. King Puranjana, the living entity, thus being victimized by the hard struggle for existence, took to transcendental meditation with his friends and relatives. Oh, thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. I'm going. I'll see you soon. Sooner than later. Text 18. King Puranjana collected taxes in the city known as Panchala, and thus was able to engage in sexual indulgence. Being completely under the control of women, he could not understand that his life was passing away, and that he was reaching the point of death. Purport. Government men, including kings, presidents, secretaries, and ministers, are in a position to utilize taxes collected from the citizens for sense gratification. As stated, it is stated in Srimad-Bhagavatam that in this Kali Yuga, government men, Rajanyas, and those connected with the government, as well as exalted government ministers, secretaries, and presidents, will all simply collect taxes for sense gratification. The government is top-heavy, and without increasing taxes, the government cannot maintain itself. When taxes are collected, they are utilized for the sense gratification of the government officials. Such irresponsible politicians forget that there is a time when death will come to take away all their sense gratification. Some of them are convinced that after life everything is finished. This atheistic theory was conceived long ago by a philosopher named Charvaka. Charvaka recommended that man should live very opulently by either begging, borrowing, or stealing. He also maintained that one should not be afraid of death or the next life, the past, or an impious life, because after the body is burnt to ashes, everything is finished. This is the philosophy of those who are too much materially addicted. Such philosophizing will not save one from the danger of death, nor will it save one from an abominable afterlife. Text 19. My dear King Prachinavarashat, at this time the daughter of formidable time was seeking her husband throughout the 3 worlds. Although no one agreed to accept her, she came. Purport. In course of time, when the body becomes old and practically invalid, it is subject to jara, the sufferings of old age. There are 4 basic kinds of suffering: birth, disease, old age, disease, and death. No scientist or philosopher has ever been able to make a solution to these 4 miserable conditions. The invalidity of old age, known as jara, is figuratively explained here as the daughter of time. No one likes her, but she is very much anxious to accept anyone as her husband. No one likes to become old and invalid, but this is inevitable for everyone. Text 20. The daughter of time, Jara, was very unfortunate. Consequently, she was known as Durbhaga, ill-fated. However, she was once pleased with a great king, and because the king accepted her, she granted him a great benediction. Purport. As Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings, Sabha Sukha Bhagala, all kinds of happiness disappear in old age. Consequently, no one likes old age, or Jara. Thus, Jara, as the daughter of time, is known as the most unfortunate daughter. She was, however, at one time accepted by the great king, Yayati. Yayati was cursed by his father-in-law, Shukracharya, to accept her. When Shukracharya's daughter was married to King Yayati, one of her friends, named Sarmishta, went with her. Later, King Yayati became very much attached to Sharmishta, and Shukracharya's daughter complained to her father. Consequently, Shukracharya cursed King Yayati to become prematurely old. King Yayati had 5 youthful sons, and he begged all his sons to exchange their youth for his old age. No one agreed, except the youngest son, whose name was Puru. Upon accepting Yayati's old age, Puru was given the kingdom. It is said that 2 of Yayati's other sons, being disobedient to their father, were given kingdoms outside of India, most probably Turkey and Greece. The purport is that one can accumulate wealth and all kinds of material opulences, but during old age, one cannot enjoy them. Although Puru attained his father's kingdom, he could not enjoy all the opulence, for he had sacrificed his youth. One should not wait for old age in order to become Krishna conscious. I'll read that again. One should not, speaking from an old man's position, one should not wait for old age in order to become Krishna conscious. Due to invalidity of old age, one cannot make progress in Krishna consciousness, however opulent he may be materially. 21. When I once came to this earth from Brahmaloka, the highest planetary system, the daughter of time, wandering over the universe, met me. This is Narada Muni speaking. This is Narada Muni. Knowing me to be an avowed brahmachari, she became lusty and proposed that I accept her. Purport. The great sage Narada Muni was a Naishtika brahmachari. That is, he never had sex life. He was consequently an evergreen youth. Old age, Jara, could not attack him. The invalidity of old age can overcome an ordinary man, but Narada Muni was different. Taking Narada Muni to be an ordinary man, the daughter of time confronted him with her lusty desire. It requires great strength to resist a woman's attraction. It is difficult for old men, and what to speak of young. Those who live as brahmacharis must follow in the footsteps of the great sage Narada Muni, who never accepted the proposals of Jara. Those who are too much sexually addicted become victims of Jara, and very soon their lifespan is shortened. Without utilizing the human form of life for Krishna consciousness, the victims of Jara die very soon in this world. 22. The great sage Narada continued, when I refused to accept her request, she became very angry at me and cursed me severely. Because I refused her request, she said that I would not be able to stay in one place for a long time. Purport. The great sage Narada Muni has a spiritual body. Therefore, old age, disease, birth, and death do not affect him. Narada is the most kind devotee of the Supreme Lord, and his only business is to travel all over the universe and preach Krishna consciousness. In other words, his business is to make everyone a Vaishnava. Under the circumstances, there is ordinarily no need for him to stay in one place for more than the time he requires to preach. Since by his own free will he is already traveling all over the universe, the curse of Kalakanya is described as fortunate. Like Narada Muni, many other devotees of the Lord are engaged in preaching the glories of the Lord in different places and in different universes. Such personalities are beyond the jurisdiction of material laws. Text 23. After she was thus disappointed by me, with my permission, she approached the king of the Yavanas, whose name was Bhaya, or fear, and she accepted him as her husband. Purport. Being the most perfect Vaishnava, Sri Narada Muni is always willing to do good to others, even to one who curses him. Although Kalakanya, the daughter of time, was refused by Narada Muni, she was given a shelter. Of course, no one will give her shelter, but a Vaishnava gives shelter somewhere to an unfortunate girl. When Jara, or old age, attacks, everyone dwindles and deteriorates. In one stroke, Narada Muni gave shelter to Kalakanya and counterattacked the ordinary karmis. If one accepts the instructions of Narada Muni, the ocean of fear, Bhaya, can be very quickly removed by the grace of that great Vaishnava. Text 24. Approaching the king of the Yavanas, Kalakanya addressed him as a great hero, saying, "My dear sir, you are the best of the untouchables. I am in love with you, and I want you as my husband. I know that no one is baffled if he makes friends with you." Purport. The words Yavananam, Rishabham, refer to the king of the Yavanas. The Sanskrit words Yavana and Mlecha apply to those who do not follow the Vedic principles. According to the Vedic principles, one should rise early in the morning, take bath, chant Hare Krishna, offer Mangalarati to the deities, study Vedic literature, take prasad, and engage in dressing and decorating the deities. One must also collect money for the temple expenditures, or if one is a householder, he must go to work in accordance with the prescribed duties of a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or Shudra. In this way, one should live a life of spiritual understanding, and this is the Vedic way of civilization. One who does not follow all these rules and regulations is called a Yavana, or Mlecha. One should not mistakenly think that these words refer to different classes of men in other countries. There is no question of limitation according to nationalism. Whether one lives in India or outside of India, he is called a Yavana or Mlecha if he does not follow the Vedic principles. One who does not actually follow the hygienic principles prescribed in the Vedic rules and regulations will be subjected to many contagious diseases. Because the students of this Christian consciousness movement are advised to follow the Vedic principles, they naturally become hygienic. If a person is Krishna conscious, he can work like a young man even if he is 75 or 80 years old. Thus the daughter of Kala, time, cannot overcome a Vaishnava. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami engaged in writing Chaitanya Charitamrita when he was very old, yet he presented the most wonderful literature about the activities of Lord Chaitanya. Srila Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami began their spiritual lives at a very old age, that is, after they retired from their occupations and family lives. Yet they presented many valuable literatures for the advancement of spiritual life. This is confirmed by Srila Srinivasa Acharya, who praised the Goswamis in this way: Nana Shastra Vichara Naikatapunao Saddharma Sangstapakao Lokanam Hitakari Nao Tribhuvane Manyo Sharanya Karo Radha Krishna Padada Vinda Bhajana Nandina Mataliko Bande Rupa Sanatana Rago Yugo Shri Jiva Gopala Go. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the 6 Goswamis, namely Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Rupa Goswami, Sri Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami, and Sri Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who were very expert in scrutinizingly studying all the revealed scriptures with the aim of establishing eternal religious principles for the benefit of all human beings. Thus they are honored all over the three worlds, and they are worth taking shelter of because they are absorbed in the mood of the gopis and are engaged in transcendental loving service of Radha and Krishna. Thus jara, the effect of old age, does not harass a devotee. This is because a devotee follows the instructions of the determination of Narada Muni. All devotees are in the disciplic succession stemming from Narada Muni because they worship the deity according to Narada Muni's direction, namely the Narada Pancharatra, or the Pancharatrika Vidhi. A devotee follows the principles of Bhagavad Vidhi. Bhagavad Vidhi includes preaching work, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu, the hearing and chanting of the glories of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Pancharatrika Vidhi includes Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. Because a devotee rigidly follows the instructions of Narada Muni, he has no fear of old age, disease, or death. Apparently, a devotee may grow old, but he is not subjected to the symptoms of defeat experienced by a common man in old age. Consequently, old age does not make a devotee fearful of death, as a common man is fearful of death. When jara, or old age, takes shelter of a devotee, Kalakanya diminishes the devotee's fear. A devotee knows that after death he is going back home, back to Godhead. Therefore, he has no fear. Thus, instead of depressing a devotee, advanced age helps him become fearless and thus happy. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Text 25. One who does not give charity according to the customs or injunctions of the scriptures, and who does not accept charity in that way, are considered to be in the mode of ignorance. Such persons follow the path of the foolish. Surely they must lament at the end. Purport. It is herein stated that one should strictly follow the scriptures if one actually wants an auspicious life. The same is explained in Bhagavad Gita 16:23. Yak shastra vidimutsrinja vartate kamakarataha nasa siddhim avapnoti nasukam napadam gatim. He who discards scriptural injunctions and acts according to his own whims attains neither perfection nor happiness nor the supreme destination. One who does not strictly follow the terms of the Vedic injunctions never attains success in life or happiness. And what to speak of going home, back to Godhead? One Shastric injunction holds that a householder, a Kshatriya, or an administrative head should not refuse to accept a woman if she voluntarily requests to become a wife. Since Kalakanya, the daughter of Time, was deputed by Narada Muni to offer herself to Yavana Raja, the king of the Yavanas could not refuse her. All transactions must be performed in light of the Shastric injunctions. The Shastric injunctions are confirmed by great sages like Narada Muni. As stated by Narottam Das Thakur, Sadhu Shastra Guru Bhakya Chitete Koriya Aikya. One should follow the principles of saintly persons, scriptures, and the spiritual master. In this way, one is sure to attain success in life. Kalakanya, the daughter of Time, presented herself before the king of the Yavanas precisely in terms of sadhu, shastra, and guru. Thus there was no reason for not accepting her. Text 26. Kalakanya continued, O gentle one, I am now present before you to serve you. Please accept me and thus show me mercy. It is a gentleman's greatest duty to be compassionate upon a person who is distressed. Purport. Yavanaraj, the king of the Yavanas, could also refuse to accept Kalakanya, daughter of time, but he considered the request due to the order of Narada Muni. Thus he accepted Kalakanya in a different way. In other words, the injunctions of Narada Muni on the path of devotional service can be accepted by anyone within the three worlds, and certainly by the king of the Yavanas. Lord Chaitanya himself requested everyone to preach the cult of Bhakti Yoga all over the world, in every town and village and town. Preachers in the Krishna consciousness movement have actually experienced that even the Yavanas and Mlechas have taken to spiritual life on the strength of Narada Muni's Pancharatrika Vidhi. When mankind follows the disciplic succession, as recommended by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, everyone throughout the world will benefit. Text 27. After hearing the statement of Kalakanya, daughter of time, the king of the Yavanas began to smile and devise a means for executing his confidential duty on behalf of Providence. He then addressed Kalakanya as follows. Purport. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi 5:142, it is said, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Arla Sabha Britya Yari Yaichi Nachaya Sithaichi Karinitya. Actually, the Supreme Controller is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and everyone is his servant. Yavana Raj, the king of the Yavanas, was also a servant of Krishna. Consequently, he wanted to execute the purpose of Krishna through the agency of Kalakanya. Although Kalakanya means invalidity or old age, Yavana Raj wanted to serve Krishna by introducing Kalakanya everywhere. Thus, a sane person, by attaining old age, will become fearful of death. Foolish people engage in material activities. Foolish people engage in material activities as if they will live forever and enjoy material advancement. But actually, there is no material advancement. Under illusion, people think that material opulence will save them. But although there has been much advancement in material science, the problems of human society, birth, death, old age, and disease, are still unsolved. Nonetheless, foolish scientists are thinking that they have advanced materially. When Kalakanya, the invalidity of old age, attacks them, they become fearful of death, if they are sane. Those who are insane simply do not care for death, and nor do they know what is going to happen after death. They are under the wrong impression that after death there is no life, and consequently they act very irresponsibly in this life and enjoy unrestricted sense gratification. For an intelligent person, the appearance of old age is an impetus to spiritual life. People naturally fear impending death. The king of the Yavanas tried to utilize Kalakanya for this purpose. Text 28. The king of the Yavanas replied, After much consideration, I have arrived at a husband for you. Actually, as far as everyone is concerned, you are inauspicious and mischievous. Since no one likes you, how can you accept anyone? How can anyone accept you as his wife? Purport. After much consideration, the king of the Yavanas decided to make the best use of a bad bargain. Kalakanya was a bad bargain and no one liked her, but everything can be used for the service of the Lord. Thus the king of the Yavanas tried to utilize her for some purpose. The purpose has already been explained. That is, Kalakanya as Jara, the invalidity of old age, can be used to arouse a sense and fear in people so that they will prepare for the next life by engaging in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What nice purports. Text 29. The world is a product of fruitive activities. Therefore, you may imperceptibly attack people in general. Helped by my soldiers, you can kill them without opposition. Purport. The word karma nirvinmitam, karma vinirmitam, means manufactured by fruitive activities. This entire material world, especially in these days, is the result of fruitive activities. Everyone is fully engaged in decorating the world with highways, motor cars, electricity, skyscrapers, industries, businesses, etc. All this appears very nice to those who are simply engaged in sense gratification and who are ignorant of spiritual identity. As described in Srimad-Bhagavatam 5.5.4, Nunam pramatak kurute vikarma yadindriya pritaya aprinoti nasadu manye yata atmano yam asanna bikleshata asadeyaha. Those without knowledge of the spirit soul are mad after materialistic activities, and they perform all kinds of sinful activities simply for sense gratification. According to Rishabhadeva, such activities are inauspicious because they force one to accept an abominable body in the next life. Everyone can experience that although we try to keep the body in a comfortable position, it is always giving pain and is subjected to the threefold miseries. Otherwise, why are there so many hospitals, welfare boards, and insurance establishments? Actually, in this world, there is no happiness. People are simply engaged trying to counteract unhappiness. Foolish people accept unhappiness as happiness. Therefore, the king of the Yavanas decided to attack such foolish people imperceptibly by old age, disease, and ultimately death. Of course, after death, there must be birth. Therefore, Yavanaraj thought it wise to kill all the karmis through the agency of Kalakanya, and thus try to make them aware that materialistic advancement is not actually advancement. Every living entity is a spiritual being, and consequently, without spiritual advancement, the human form of life is ruined. Text 30. One more text. The king of the Yavanas continued, "Here is my brother, Prajvara. I now accept you as my sister. I shall employ both of you, as well as my dangerous soldiers, to act imperceptibly within this world." Purport. Kalakanya was sent by Narada Muni to Yavanaraj so that she might become his wife, but instead of accepting her as his wife, Yavanaraj accepted her as his sister. Those who do not follow the Vedic principles are unrestricted as far as sex life is concerned. Consequently, they sometimes do not hesitate to have sex with their sisters. In this age of Kali, there are many instances of such incest. Although Yavanaraj accepted the request of Narada Muni to show respect to him, he was nonetheless thinking of illicit sex. This was due to his being the king of the Yavanas and Mlechas. The word Prajvara is very significant, for it means the fever sent by Lord Vishnu. Such a fever is always set at 107 degrees, the temperature at which a man dies. Thus the king of the Mlechas and Yavanas requested the daughter of time, Kalakanya, to become his sister. There was no need to ask her to become his wife, for the Yavanas and Mlechas do not make distinctions as far as sex life is concerned. Thus one may outwardly be a sister, mother, or daughter and still have sex. The Yavanaraj's brother was called Prajvara, and Kalakanya was invalidity herself. Combined and strengthened by the soldiers of Yavanaraj, namely non-hygienic conditions, illicit sex, and ultimately a high degree of temperature to bring on death. They would be able to smash the materialistic way of life. In this connection, it is significant that Narada was immune to the attack of jara, or invalidity, and similarly, jara, or the destructive force, cannot attack any follower of Narada Muni, or a pure Vaishnava. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 4th canto, 27th chapter of Srimad-Bhagavatam, entitled Attack by Candavega on the city of King Puranjana, the character of Kalakanya. Pretty potent stuff. Narada Muni describing material existence, and Srila Prabhupada elaborating on how that teaching applies to us in the Kali Yuga. Hare Krishna. Okay, here we go. Open mic time. A lot of nice material discussed today. Sorry.
A comment.
Yes, please.
These Srila Prabhupada's purport kind of reminded me of how he did similar figurative purports or explanation, light of Bhagavatam.
Yes.
So, but it's so brilliant, meaning.
Yes, how he described the different features of nature and how they represented different aspects of material life. Yes. The clouds throwing rain like charitable rich men. Anyway, yeah, that's right, that's true. And therefore allegory is very important, like Jesus Christ preached a lot by parable, which is the same principle as allegory. Because sometimes it's hard to hear things just directly, so we need to be entertained a little bit, so that that's the greatness of Prabhupada's purports. They're heavy, but they're also, the way he puts the words and the way he makes examples, it's entertaining at the same time. It allows us to laugh at ourselves and to laugh at our predicament in this material world, material life. I can offer one little reflection that I was feeling strongly while I was reading it, because I'm coming up to 73, and 73 is over the age of retirement. If I was still in the material world, I would be forced to retire. And I must admit openly in public that I am dealing with different. Here we have another person. I don't know if you're not. Are you as old as me? Older or less? 70. So youngster. Youngster. But this is the Prabhupada was like 82 when he left. He was 70 when he left India. And what he did in between 70 and 82, being 73, and seeing how hard it is to do the physical things that I do, it's just inconceivable. Actually not humanly possible. But I must say that by his association, and I mean just this, reading these books every day, I've become happy. Even though I got pains and this and the other thing, I can't do many things physically. But I'm happy just by hearing this Bhagavatam in the association of the devotees. And this is exactly what Prabhupada was talking about when he said that the invalidity of old age. It doesn't mean that we don't become invalid physically, but internally we don't. We stay happy. And most people old that are invalid, they're not happy. I mean, I think that's a bold statement on my part, but I think it's pretty true. What do you think? Is it true? Yes. So that was my reflection, how merciful Srila Prabhupada is and how blessed we are to have his association in these books. I wrote something to Braj Bihari, who is there in Mayapur, attending the meetings, and I normally attend one of those meetings, but I sent him this little, he was talking about. Now I have to find it. I found it. Oh no, that's not it. Oops. Oops. Now I have to remember who it came in from. Yes, I found it. Vaisheshika Prabhu. Vaisheshika Prabhu is trying to promote the idea of reading Bhagavatam every day, like we do here. But he's tying 41 pages to it, which I did in the beginning, remember? I was always talking about 41 pages, because we are very close. So then, and Raj Bihari told me and him, means me and Vaisheshika Prabhu, that the leaders attending this meeting they liked the idea. And then I wrote this: the number is just a way to get them interested, but it's not the most important thing or the thing to be emphasized. It's the opportunity to hear more of Srila Prabhupada's purports, his train of thought, and his transcendental ecstasies, his personal sangha, to get back the taste of hearing directly from him and remembering why we're taking the trouble to work so hard to develop our management systems. The purpose of all of it is to give the people and ourselves the knowledge of how to solve the problems of life through spiritual solutions given to us by Krishna instead of external solutions. He often said that his purports were more important even than the verses, because without them we cannot properly understand the Shastra. So I agree wholeheartedly with Vaisheshika Prabhu. Hare Krishna. My reflection. And the purpose of all, as I said in the beginning when we first came in, is to develop a taste for being with Krishna, to become attached to Krishna. Because if we can become attached to Krishna before we come to jara, or old age, then we will be able to go back to Godhead. No matter who we are. Hare Krishna. What else?
Why do you think humans have not?
Wait. Serve your mother. Do something good for you. Wait. Oh, there, that's okay.
So Maharaj, why do you think humans have not progressed beyond, as a civilized person in terms of the debauchery and all that?
Well, these verses that we've been reading, where the analogy or the parables are, old age marries fear, and fear has a sister, and the brother, fear of death and invalidity and all these things. The material world is constructed like that. It won't change. It will never change. What can change is our identification with it. The reason it's going like that, the reason that people are not, despite so-called advancement, technological advancement and comforts and all of that, they're not taking this and not making solutions to these things, is because they are deeply influenced by the mode of ignorance. And time is all-powerful. Krishna says, Kalosmi, in the Bhagavad Gita. Kalosmi, time I am. No one can overcome time, as we just read, taught by Narada Muni. So there's nothing wrong with that, and that's why the materialists who have no idea of what's going to happen after death, they just write it off. They say, oh yeah, anyway, it's just part of life and you just have to accept it. So they've developed this philosophy by the mode of ignorance. This is the effect of the mode of ignorance. The animal can be in a line of other animals, and the head animal is being slaughtered. And if you feed the animal nicely, he'll be content, and he won't try to run away. So human society, without Krishna consciousness, without following the principles that we're following, is no better than an animal. So because it has become animalistic, it's called Dvipashu, two-legged animal. Human beings have become two-legged animals, and therefore they can't see it, even though it's right there. Pashanapni ma pashyati. It's right in front of their eyes, and they're looking at it, and they still can't see it. That's the effect of mode of ignorance. And in Kali Yuga, the mode of ignorance becomes more and more prominent and more influential. But the amazing thing about this age of Kali Yuga, which according to the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam, is an ocean of faults. But despite the ocean of faults, there's one positive thing, that by hearing the glories of the holy name and the glories of Krishna in the Srimad-Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, one can go back to Godhead. Just by doing that. You don't have to do anything else. So that's why these are so important, these sessions we're having every night. And I'm so happy to see more and more devotees coming and getting a taste for hearing and trying to understand what's actually true, what the truth is. Hare Krishna. Okay, there's a program over for tonight, so I'm going to go now and allow you to all go and get ready. And thank you so much. Did we have any questions from the... I saw you come up and touch it like there's something was going on. Oh, is it finished? No. Oh no, it's just low. Yeah, it was at 20%. Okay, good. I forgot to plug it in this afternoon, so it's a little low. Anyway, we got to the end. Very good.
No questions.
Oh, very good. Thank you so much. Narada Muni ki jai. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaur Premanandi. See you tomorrow at... There's a program starting at 6. So I don't know what to do exactly. 4:30. Okay. We'll see you tomorrow night at 4:30. Central Time, USA. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Haribol.